Eye anatomy. This video will introduce you to important parts of the eye. Let's begin with the cornea, which is the clear front surface of the eye. Surrounding the cornea is the sclera, or the white of the eye. Directly behind the cornea is the iris, which gives the eye its color. The circular opening in the center of the iris is the pupil, which controls how much light reaches the back of the eye. Now, let's look at the eye in cross-section. Here again are the cornea, sclera, iris, and pupil. The front portion of the sclera is covered by a thin clear membrane called the conjunctiva. Directly behind the pupil is the lens of the eye. The cornea accounts for about 70% of the focusing power of the eye, and the lens provides the remaining 30%. The interior of the eye is divided into two portions, the anterior segment and the posterior segment. The anterior segment includes the cornea, the iris, and the lens. There are two spaces, or chambers, in the anterior segment of the eye. The anterior chamber is the space between the back surface of the cornea and the front of the iris. The posterior chamber is the space between the back surface of the iris and the front of the lens. The anterior and posterior chambers are both filled with a clear fluid called the aqueous humor. This fluid, or aqueous, is produced by the ciliary body, which is located behind the iris. The amount of aqueous in the eye determines the pressure inside the eye. It's called the intraocular pressure, or IOP. The posterior segment is the portion of the eye behind the lens. Structures located in the posterior segment include the vitreous, the retina, and the choroid. The vitreous, also called the vitreous humor, is the clear gel-like fluid in the back of the eye. The vitreous maintains the shape of the eyeball. The retina is the light-sensitive inner lining of the back of the eye. The cornea and lens focus light on the retina, where it's transformed into nerve impulses that are sent to the brain. The portion of the retina that controls our central vision is called the macula. Within the macula is a small spot called the fovea, the most sensitive part of the retina, which determines the eye's visual acuity. The choroid is a thin layer sandwiched between the retina and the outer sclera. It contains tiny blood vessels that nourish the retina. Also located in the posterior segment of the eye, there is a circular structure called the optic disc. This is where nerve fibers in the retina come together to form the optic nerve. The optic disc also is where retinal blood vessels enter and exit the back of the eye. The optic nerve begins at the optic disc and takes impulses from the retina to the brain, where they are interpreted as visual images.